Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to the Division 2. Today was the final dev livestream and the launch stream for Year 6 Season 3, Q23 of the game. Yannick, the game's creative director, and Daria, the game's product manager, joined us to discuss, like I said, the final launch details for this new season of the Division 2. So, what we're going to recap in this video includes the new season stuff that is coming, the new manhunts including the trailer, we have changes from the PTS, the presentation of all the stuff that we saw a few weeks ago, they outlined some pretty cool new events that are on the way this season. We got some details on the upcoming anniversary event next month. There's Twitch drops. There's a bunch of stuff that we're going to get to. The important thing to know off the bat is that all of this new stuff and the new season begins tomorrow, February 25th. The final patch notes for the update are about to go live as I'm recording this. I will do another video later today breaking those down. And if you want to catch me live tomorrow checking out all of the new stuff, I will be going live around 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. You can check the community tab for more details. But let's get right to it, shall we? Starting with Year 6 Season 3, Burden of Truth. They played the trailer. I love this thing. Obviously, we know that Kelso is the target that was announced before now, but in the trailer, we see scenes animated that we've never seen before, which is pretty cool. We see Faye Lau with Ellis at White Oak. We see Natalia. We see Schaefer being wheeled around the White House. Please, does that mean he's going to wake up? I need Schaefer back. Anyway, if you have a chance to check out the full trailer with the audio on YouTube, highly recommend. Looks very cool. And we see Kelso stalking the White House at the end. What does that mean? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. As part of the new stuff for the season, they then broke down the new seasonal modifier that is on the way. Again, we talked about this in the PTS coverage, but it is going to be called Rogue Momentum, and they broke it down to its most basic description as being focused around aggressive combat. Basically, the more aggressive you are in gameplay, the more momentum you will gain to fill up your new momentum bar, and that gives you more power. So all of the active and passive modifiers this time around focus around weapon and skill momentum charging, which gives you extra damage, extra speed, reload, bunch of stuff like that. They also talked about how the hostile modifiers this season have been reworked and streamlined. There is now only going to be one modifier, and it upgrades as you do in your journey progression, because that is how you now unlock all of the modifiers. So the NPCs will no longer be way above you in power to start out. They will be closer to where you are, and then they level up with you. But moving on, let's then talk about the Season's 2.0 improvements that they wanted to highlight. They started off by saying Year 6 Season 3 is going to be the first response to live Seasons 2.0 feedback that they've had, right? Because Year 6 Season 2, the previous season, was the very first update of this new model. So Yannick said they're excited to implement this feedback and continue doing so in the future to hopefully make it better and better. The first major change that they highlighted, and we've talked about this, is how all of your seasonal modifiers will now unlock from the seasonal journey. Last season, you got your active ones from the seasonal journey and the passive ones from priority objectives. The priority objective side is now taken away. All modifiers will be on the seasonal journey track. They did highlight how that using modifiers now will grant you a season XP boost, which is pretty awesome. We now have an incentive to turn on and play with the modifiers, and they said that that will stack on top of the boost that you get from owning the premium season pass. Talking about priority objectives, they highlighted the new reroll refill system, where every 24 hours that reroll bar, where you can do 3 rerolls of your objectives, will be refilled, so that hopefully you can get through those faster and get to the ones that you actually want to play. They said that the tougher to complete objectives, like elite resource convoys and other stuff that can be within the priority objective rotation and system, those have been removed, so you should no longer encounter those. They highlighted how season pass XP has been redistributed. Right, last season it was a lot more restrictive than we were used to in seasons 1.0, but it will now function a lot closer to 1.0, where you can now earn season pass XP by completing a variety of activities in the game, including stuff in the open world, different game modes, all of that. And lastly, they talked about how players who are at level 40 can now begin their seasonal journey at tier 3 right away, because 1 and 2 are intended for players who are on the journey from 0 to 40, so yeah. Alright, moving on, they wanted to talk about some PTS changes specifically relating to the modifiers and the new season presentation there. Firstly, they said that the gain of momentum, again, momentum is like the new thing, the new mechanic for this season's modifiers. The way you gained it was a bit too generous on the PTS. You were able to get it very quickly without thinking much about what you were doing in gameplay. So they said they've lowered that a bit so that you have to be a bit more tactical in your decisions, and they really want you to identify and take on those blacklisted enemies, which is part of the global modifier description. However, in compensation for that, they have also added a 3-second delay before you begin losing momentum. So the way Yannick described it is, it will take a bit longer to get momentum, but once you have it, you will not lose it as fast. Additionally, they got feedback about how the hostile modifier Frenzy was a bit too powerful, specifically in the area where it gives enemies health and armor regen in combat. So that has been nerfed or lessened compared to the PTS presentation. And they also said that blacklisted enemies are going to be more punishing in how much momentum you will lose if they shoot you, so be mindful of that. They then took a moment to shout out the new stash space increase that is incoming. Again, we've talked about that ad nauseum already here on the channel. But if you didn't hear, there are 100 new slots coming to your stash tomorrow. There is a condition to get that though. 50 slots will be given to anyone who owns the Warlords of New York expansion, and 50 will be given for anyone who owns the Year 1 pass. That is retroactive if you already own those things. That is proactive if you want to buy those things now and get the new slots. But yeah, a total of 100 extra will be available beginning tomorrow. And they said that those new slots are going to be reflected on hardcore characters as well. Moving on, they highlighted the new gear that we have coming this season, along with changes that were made to it from the PTS. But they said right off the bat that there are no major nerfs from the PTS presentations of these items. They have just gone in and buffed a good amount of them. So let's go down the list. We have the Oxpecker, which is the new exotic SMG. They said this is very shield focused in its gameplay and talent. The only change here is that one of the mods used to give you headshot damage, but that has now been changed to plus 10 rounds. The exotic Exodus gloves are the new ones that give you the smoke bomb ability that I'm very excited for. They shouted out how it has its PvE and PvP variations in the talent, but one pretty big change they made is that they've actually redone all of the stat distribution on there. In the PTS, it came with armor, crit chance, and hazard protection. In the live game, the Exodus gloves will come with weapon damage, crit chance, and crit damage. So that's pretty cool. I have a feeling that'll fit into a lot more builds. They then talked about the new refactor gear set. In essence, this is a skill damage lifesteal kind of a build. Pretty cool. No huge buffs here. The only thing they shouted out was that the backpack talent used to give you 40% bonus armor. That is now up to a ceiling of 80%. We have the shiny monkey brand set on the way. There are no changes to this, they said, from how it was on the PTS. And lastly, we have the Birdie's Quick Fix exotic backpack. They shouted out that this one is going to be awarded from the Year 6 Season 3 Climax mission, just like the Provocator was available from Year 6 Season 2's. Same distribution, where it will be a 100% guaranteed drop on your first clear of Master difficulty, although it will be farmable on any difficulty of the Climax at lower chances. They did say though that those exact values will be available in the patch notes. Again, we're going to break those down later. Two pretty big buffs to this item though. They have changed the revive speed buff to plus 50%, now it is plus 100%, and this item now works with a revive hive, so pretty big functionality changes there. I think although this is niche for sure, it is going to be very powerful when people spec into it correctly. So yeah, looking forward to that one. They then took some time to highlight and shout out the season pass that is on the way. On here, there are going to be 9 new gear dyes, 9 new weapon skins, 3 new outfits, 1 of which will be on the free track and 2 which will be on the premium. And something pretty cool that they shouted out about these outfits, as you'll see in the little clip, is that the night vision goggles that are on some of these outfits, those will go up when it's daytime, and whenever you go into nighttime or just into a dark room or building or underground or whatever, those will automatically flip down. So they said this is a pretty cool new thing that the art team was able to do. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then lastly, the season pass, I guess, will give you 600 premium credits along the way. I don't know if those are available in just the premium one or if those will be on the free track, but yeah, there's the season pass. They shouted out some new events that we have coming our way, and these seem pretty cool. So firstly, they did note that there will be an April Fool's Day event this year. No big real details if it's going to function like the other ones, where it's like a multi-week thing with projects and all of that, or if it's just like a one-day event where they're going to change something in the game. But Daria was quite tight-lipped on this one, basically just saying, it's coming, keep an eye out. They did, however, say that there is going to be an Easter event this year that will function very similarly to the summer, winter, all of those events with the projects, new named item, cosmetics. So that'll probably be on the way in April as well. And then they also gave us a bit of a preview of the events timeline this season, and they've added a lot more of those little XP events on top of the ones we saw last season, like general XP events, seasonal XP events, expertise ones. They are bringing Shepherd XP events, Clan XP events, and DZ XP events. This is really cool. I've been saying for a long time I wanted to see more of this stuff, so really happy to see it making its way into the game. So stay tuned for those soon. They shouted out that there is a new round of Twitch drops on the way. These are going to be taking place in March to align with the Division 2's anniversary celebration. So for 2 weeks between March 3rd and March 17th, there are going to be 2 different tracks of rewards for those 2 different weeks. In total, if you're adding up both of the weeks, there are going to be 2 new arm patches, 2 new weapon skins, 4 named item caches, and 2 exotic caches. So if you want to partake in that, again, starting on March 3rd, you can watch any eligible streamer on Twitch for those rewards. Moving on, they then detailed even more about the anniversary event coming in March. Again, we already know that there's a stream on the way. They're going to share more details about that as it gets closer. but this will be the 6th anniversary of the Division 2. Pretty wild that it's already been that long. And as part of the celebration, they said a free grant that is going to be on the way is for this Shade backpack skin. So again, this is not an actual equipment item. It is just a skin that you'll be able to apply, but obviously it's themed around the Division. It comes with a panel on the back that displays your real-time SHD level, which is pretty cool. Again, they said this is, similar to the night vision goggles that we talked about. This is like new tech that the art team is testing out, but that will display your live shade level that you can then go off and show to anyone who's walking around you and sees your backpack. So that's pretty darn cool. And yeah, they didn't give any specific dates for when this grant will go out or when the stream is going to be. They just said stay tuned around mid-March and more details will follow. They took some time to talk about easy anti-cheat because I guess there is an update to this or some kind of infrastructure change they're making to how the Division 2's anti-cheat works. Basically, they said they recognize that cheaters are a big issue for the game, and they're always trying to work to improve what they can do to really protect the integrity of the Division 2. And so they just wanted to share a general warning that because they're updating the anti-cheat, there may be some hiccups in the overall rollout of it. And so they just said that PC players should keep an eye out. This may go specifically for people on the Steam Deck and using Linux. But they said that the team has prepared like a whole briefing of what's going on and what troubleshooting steps you can take over on Trello. So once that's live, you can check out the known issues board for more details. All right, and then lastly, as always, they moved on to the Q&A. Couple of interesting things here, so let's get to it. Firstly, they confirmed that the Provocator exotic chess piece will remain exclusive to the Year 6 Season 2 Climax mission. It will not be entering the general loot pool, but again, that mission and the master version of it will be available in Legacy Manhunt, so check that out if you want to get the Provocator. They confirmed that the team is discussing ways to bring back the Lexington for another round of distribution, but no further details or no specific dates given yet. They said that having the ability to save your specialization perk tree selections to your loadout is a quality of life fix they would really like to do, and it's on their list, but no details yet. And to confirm that beyond the new 100 slots we're getting for the stash, additional stash space is on the table for the future, but they need to really closely monitor and test every time that they do add any for potential impact on the game, because that can have an issue with, the game retrieving your inventory, your stash when you go there. It can potentially impact load time, so it's just something they need to keep an eye on. They confirmed that there are discussions happening for the missing seasonal blueprints the players do not have access to collect. They confirmed that a specialization rework is not happening anytime soon. They did say that they want to work on making it so that there is unified group progress for objectives like in the journey and other stuff like that, but that it is unfortunately not a simple fix. But again, they are looking into it and working on it in the background. They said they have no current plans to make pistols automatic. They confirmed that master difficulty from last season and all ones moving forward will continue to be available after the given season concludes via Legacy Manhunts. This was a pretty big announcement though that they had not really talked about before. Old season's modifiers will continue to be available exclusively when you play the Legacy Master version of those old Manhunt missions. So for example, because we just got the Theo Parnell mission at Space Admin for Year 6 Season 2, once the new season begins, or at any point in the future, if you go back to replay that mission, if you enable modifiers, you will be able to go in and put in, the modifiers from Year 6 Season 2, the stuff with point blank and all of the range-based things. They said that you will not be able to use new season's modifiers on those old master missions, but that you will have access to the old modifiers should you choose to use them. So that's pretty cool, and it's really neat that we're still going to be able to access those if we want to do them in that one specific piece of content. Somebody asked about the potential return of classified gear, and Yannick gave it a swift no, get out of my stream. Of course, he was joking, but I appreciated that because I don't want to see classifieds ever again. They talked about how having a one-button solution for opening multiple apparel caches is again something that is on their list for quality of life, but no announcements to make. They've said this before, but they are continuing to explore ways to reintroduce apparel events under kind of a new model, right? It wouldn't be a one-to-one for how they used to work, but that is something they're looking into. And they shared a pretty honest moment because there were a lot of questions coming in about outfits, and they were talking about the apparel events. People were like, oh, all you care about is money in this game. And Yannick said, look, so far all of the content we've released is free. The game needs to generate money somehow to continue, making content and funding the developers. And so the way that they do that is by selling these cosmetics. So there you go. And finally, they confirmed that additional news on the Brooklyn DLC is on the way next month at the anniversary event. But there you have it, my friends. That is the entirety of the breakdown for the Year 6 6 Season 3 dev stream that went down this morning. Not a whole lot of stuff that we didn't already know, but definitely some nice surprises in there. I'm very glad to hear about the old modifier usage within those old master missions. I think that new shade skin backpack for the anniversary event looks really cool. Excited to dive into all of these new events they're bringing. Yeah, it's a new season of The Division 2. We don't have the DLC yet. Hopefully we will very soon, but until then, this should be a nice way to tide us over. And I now turn it over to all of you. What are your thoughts on today's dev stream, and what do you think about the overall season coming to the game tomorrow? Again, we'll be breaking down the patch notes in just a few hours here. I will be live tomorrow if you want to check it out, but whatever you're thinking for right now, leave it down below. That's going to do it for me today, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.